All right, good morning. So, looks like pretty much all the charts are moving down today. ES is moving down quite strongly in what looks like this downtrend right here. In fact, you might even be getting a secondary, pretty strong downtrend here like that. NQ also moving down. The downtrend looks like it's already broken to me. So downtrend looks like it's already broken, and now prices are playing off of like the old downtrend. I do want to look and see. You could maybe draw it like this, and maybe that's valid too. In fact, that might be better. It's not perfect though. I'm gonna play around with this some more and see what I can do. Maybe pull that in real tight. Maybe that works better. I just sneeze there. I was trying to mute it so it's not too loud. Could be that. Could be that with this midline plan. I'm gonna leave that for now at least. On CL, it looks like an uptrend, break new high, downtrend, break new low. And then I thought we might be going into some sort of range, but truthfully, I think it's just this trend here. So downtrend has this break and new low, and then you find a little bit of support. Not perfect there. You do find like some support here though. Now it looks like we're attempting to move to this high, but we might be stuck in a range. We still could be in a range. So it could still be something like this. I don't know, have to see if that plays out or not. I'm not sure about that range. RTY looks like it's in a spiking channel. So I'm looking for shorts on RTY, ES, and NQ. And then not really looking for anything on CL right now. And I think we have moved quite a bit on the ES already. Let's see how many points this is. About 50 points down, so it's a decent move down. Had to sniffle there. So yeah, just waiting for ideally a second entry short on the ES, on the NQ, or on RTY. And that's about it right now. I mean, the NQ, the ES, and RTY are basically all trading in like perfect sync. The NQ and the ES are almost tick for tick. Like if you showed me one chart and then showed me the other, I wouldn't be able to tell you really a difference. It's really, really close. RTY looks like it's the closest to a setup right now. Looks like it's turning down right off the trend line. See if that's able to hold. Prices are a ways away from the EMA. Just a few minutes from the open here. Got about 3 minutes. Still just looking for ideally a second entry short on the ES, the NQ, or RTY. just about to go into the open here. The ES is pulling back. So this is technically a first entry, and the next short would be a second entry, but I'm not going to take that one because it just looks sideways. So if you look here, just a bunch of sideways action. So I don't want that one. But the incur I do believe broke lower here. And there's the second entry holding the downtrend. All right, so I need to sort of switch my focus over to the second screen. Definitely a possibility for a second entry short on the ES, so I need to prepare for that.
Order submitted.
Looking for a good signal bar here. Clearly looks like 2 legs back. So preparing for some momentum to the downside potentially, though it is possible that it's blocked by an uptrend here. So that's the second entry short. I don't want to take it on that bar with the potential for this uptrend to be blocking right here. So I'm going to skip that one. incur looks like it sort of chopped sideways, breaking the trend there. Okay, looking for a possible lower high here on the ES. I don't like that one. Seems too sideways. Switching over to the RTY, it looks like technically, well, I was gonna say technically that's the second entry, but it's not. It's not even technically one.
Order canceled.
Take a look at incur. Prices are just moving sideways within this range. Looks like they already did hit a break and new low, but we're probably going to see a more convincing one. Looking for a break and new low of this downtrend. Just waiting for some kind of setup, maybe a failed second entry if it sets up right. And I sort of ignored the CL here, but looks like this uptrend had a break and attempted a new high, and now we're moving down. Looking for some sort of second leg down potentially. Maybe a second entry short on CL. Could be good. Continuing to move down on RTY. So you could just say maybe this is just 2 legs down, and that could be the case. Or could be some continuation there. RTY looks like it's continuing downwards despite the break in new low. So I'm wondering if there's some sort of larger channel. Not larger, but maybe a secondary channel, like a spike-in channel, something like that, possibly. Could be a potential there. Incur is moving up. So it looks like this downtrend does have a break in new low. But again, it doesn't feel very convincing, so I'm guessing prices will probably have another attempt down at some point. So I'm looking for shorts on the ES, the CL, and RTY right now. Possible that does have a close outside a new high. So I will mark this as a potential bet. I didn't feel great about it in the moment. Getting an up move in the RTY, pretty strong one. I would still consider a short, but that's a pretty strong move through the EMA. Getting that more convincing move down on the incur for that break in new low. A lot more convincing of a move down. As expected. ES and NQ moving lower pretty strongly, but not giving me any setups there. Okay, a lot going on now. We We have a one leg up on CL, so I'm looking for some sort of maybe a second entry short. Looking for the break new low over this downtrend, but noticing that there's already two legs down there, so it could be a little bit riskier. RTY, we did get this strong push through the EMA after the downtrend got a break and new low, so I'm probably not going to play for a break and new low of this secondary downtrend. It feels like it's asking too much, so I'm kind of pausing looking for shorts until I see momentum downwards continue on RTY. It's definitely still a possibility though, but I definitely wouldn't be looking to take something like this second entry, first entry, second entry right into the EMA. Not there, not after that push through it. So really it's the CL, the ES. The CL and the ES are looking the best to me right now. With this one leg up right now, you could get a second entry short. On the NQ, definitely looks like prices have a break and new low now, even breaking two legs to a new low. You might be able to expand this downtrend out a bit, something like that possibly. RTY is just kind of chopping sideways in this congestive action. So sort of tough to take an entry there. Technically you do have a first entry, second entry failure, but it's so sideways. Still looking for a break new low of this, or break new high of this uptrend. And you don't have any more downtrend obligations, though there is an overall down bias, in my opinion. Mainly looking at ES and CL still. NQ is going sideways. After you already have this break in new low, I'm hesitant to take another short here, especially if it's not like a 100% perfect setup. I'd rather see a correction that completes and then further downward movement before I consider a short. The ES is looking pretty close to an entry though. So it's possible this is an overshoot. It's also possible that's a midline though. So it could be a first entry looking for a second entry. Let's see if prices break out of this trend line now. Getting a strong up move on CL. I'm gonna go ahead and prep an order here just in case. And quite the up movement there. So chances are this was an overshoot. I'm gonna play it as if it was an overshoot leading to this break. Still could be looking for some sort of second entry short though. I don't know why, I just don't feel great about that. It's possible that I should take that, I just don't feel great about it. That's really it. That's all I can say. I just, like, for some reason, it doesn't feel right to me.
Order canceled.
NQ. Looks like everything's played out on NQ. Yes. I mean, everything might have played out if this is an overshoot. CL getting the strong move up. So it looks like those two measured legs down might have been accurate. Definitely not really looking for a short unless we get like a break in new high and a lower high. That's what I'd be looking for there. I want to see if my intuition was right here. Might not have been. On the CL, I'm unsure if this uptrend has a break in new high or not. Could pull it in tight and have this as a break in new high, in which case maybe I'd look for a second entry short here. That's a really strong down move. It's like an extremely strong down move actually. So yeah, if we get a second entry short here, I'll probably consider that. Chopping down on RTY, just choppily moving down. CL, there's the potential for a second entry short. It's a very strong move down, so if we take higher and get a nice bearish bar, I might consider that. I do want to consider that it could be an uptrend with two legs down, and then we might get a second leg up. Because now we've had these two perfect measured legs down, 1, 2, basically perfect there. So there's a little bit of risk going on as far as that goes. ES continuing to sort of choppily move down. So I'm going to mark this to see whether I would have gotten out of that trade or not. Let's flip back to the CL. So if this breaks higher and has a really nice bearish bar, then I might take that looking for a retest of these lows. Again, it's not a perfect setup, but it definitely has some merit. This downtrend clearly needs, or is clearly going to want a retest. So we'll see.
Order submitted.
Noticing that I really want the ES trade that I skipped. I'm really feeling like I want that to fail because I didn't take it. So I still want to be right even though I didn't take it. And I'm definitely noticing that in myself right now, but I shouldn't really care. I mean, I skipped it. I just need to move on and look for the next possible entry.
Order canceled.
So it looks like if I did take this, it'd be tapping off my order. Might push on through there. Yep, so it did push on through. So this was probably a worthwhile trade, though it did take a while to sort of chop down there. So just want to be careful not to let skipping these two trades sort of throw me off for the day. Because, yeah, just don't really need that. So this probably wasn't an overshoot then, getting that break a new low. But everything's played out to the downside on the ES now. Unless there's another downtrend, but at least for right now, it looks like everything's played out. This trade, kind of just going back to this one, it's possible there's a break a new high. There's also possible that it's a little bit wider like that. It's not a super bearish bar, so I'm not too upset about skipping that one. This one, there wasn't really too much going against it, but it just didn't feel quite right, so have to think about that one later. So we could be looking for a measured move up on CL. That's still definitely a possibility. It'd be quite far up there, but it could be the target. We are kind of moving sideways. We're not just like shooting up, but I noticed this yesterday also in, I think, the CL, where it did the same thing, where it kind of moved up, had two legs back, and then looked like it was going to reach the measured move, or like looked like it was going to go for it. It went sideways, so I removed the measured move and kind of stopped looking for it, but it did end up coming into play and did end up being the correct move. So I'm going to leave this here, even if prices kind of move sideways for a little while. It's hard to get the price action to fit on these smaller screens on my secondary monitor. It's just so much. So all downtrends have played out on ES. Might be looking for some sort of long here. In Q, chopping sideways, all the downtrends have played out here as well. Range, breakout, pullback, downtrend, break, new low, congestion. Might be better just to pull this in like this. CL, two legs down have completed. Uptrend might have a break new high, but uncertain, but mostly just kind of going sideways, not much to do there. CL similarly. Downtrend got a break a new low. Uptrend had a break, just kind of goes into like some sideways action. Might be able to draw maybe a downtrend here, something like that. Or maybe it's just wider. Oh yeah, yeah, I like that. So downtrend, break, new low. Everything's still played out to the downside on RTY. So could be looking for reversals on basically any of these. Want to go ahead and put this resistance there. We've got that one touch and another close one, so maybe that'll come into play. O'clock, seeing some momentum pick up in incur and ES. There might have been a minor news event. incur is selling off pretty strongly, so out of this range. Makes me think there's the possibility for some kind of spike in channel, potentially. Something like that could be correct. See, it's going to go ahead and push up and out of there, so just going to go ahead and remove that. ES is clearly moving sideways. Don't need that there. That has a break a new high, creating this range. That looks correct to me. Everything's played out to the downside again, so I'm not really looking for much there. This looks like the range might have just sort of expanded back out, so similar to the ES. CL, nothing happening. RTY, basically the same thing of just this range type of look. So the RTY, incur, and ES are all looking very similar still. They've looked similar for most of the day. They were like at the start of the day they were super close, but they've gotten a little bit off, but still very similar in the way they're moving. Okay, finding some upward momentum in both the ES and the NQ. Breaking out of this range. On the ES, there could be some sort of trend like this, working up. Expecting prices to pull back after the breakout. Same with the NQ. In fact, on the NQ, I'm actually going to pull this tighter again. Pull this up like this. Breakout. Prices are now moving higher. Still could have that uptrend. Potential long setups on ES and NQ. Even the CL is moving up pretty strongly. So it looks like we might be making a second leg up compared to this. Possibility for some sort of long entry on NQ. Same with ES. Pull that in. So depending on how prices react off the old resistance, there could be a long entry. Pretty strong sell-off back into the range. Creates the possibility for a lower high back within the range. Same with the RTY. Definitely possible that you get some sort of lower high coming back within here. Not something I would want to take. CL has hit the measured leg up for this one. So kind of perfect price action on CL. Uptrend, break new high, downtrend, break new low, or downtrend, break in two legs to a new low. Uptrend, break, attempt at a new high, get the second leg down for this one. Then you get two legs up. Between that, you have a downtrend with a break and new low. So it's pretty perfect price action right here. Too bad there's no setups there. Possibility for a lower high on ES coming back within the range. It's moved a little bit far, going right into this range midline. You have some stacked bars. I personally would not take that, but it's a possibility. You're getting basically the same on the RTY. So RTY kind of got a lower high, but signal bar is not great. I do like the way this one looks better than the ES one though. So I'll mark that green just to keep in mind that I want to look at that later. Same with this one. On the RTY, it looks like an uptrend with a break and new high, and then you move down and you get a lower high. So I like that one a little better. Even on the NQ, I'm actually going to pull this back out a little bit. And looks like you do get a lower high on here as well. So basically the same setup on the ES, the NQ, and the RTY. And I wonder if there's confluence between the setups on those charts like that. Maybe that could add a little bit more emphasis to it for me. Or like if all those charts are setting up the exact same, then it could be a better entry, is all I'm trying to say there. I would guess that it's probably better to be looking for the same trade across the ES, the NQ, and the RTY than have them be conflicting. So like if I'm looking for a long on the NQ and a short on the ES, it's probably not great. But if I'm looking for a short on both of them simultaneously, it's probably better. Probably means my read is more correct. On the ES, it looks like there might be a downtrend like this. You might just be making a second leg down. So maybe that might just be making a second leg down to this one. Same with this. Second leg down. So possibility for shorts on ES and NQ again. But you might just be looking for this measured move down. So the downtrend break in 2 legs to a new low. Possibility of a spike in channel, but uncertain about that. In fact, I'm going to remove it for now. Don't want to cloud my judgment with that uncertain trend. So definitely the possibility for a second entry short on the ES. After the strong leg down, I do think that'll probably get a retest. But as I said, it looks like a break in 2 legs down for the major trend. We haven't tested the breakout of this range. So we did break out the high side, but we haven't tested the support as resistance. And we're not back to the EMA. So it's not a perfect setup, at least not right now. Could get better though. Congestion on the NQ, so just chopping sideways there. CL looks like we're attempting these lows now after the 2 legs up, perfect legs. So I would say this probably doesn't have a break in new high here. It's probably this 1 leg, second leg creates the break in new high. Back to the ES, still the possibility for a second entry short, so I'm going to put this in just in case. I actually do quite like this one so far. Found a lot of buying in the end of that bar though.
Order canceled.
CL coming close to getting the break in new low here. Strong short-term downtrend. Definitely flipping above and below the EMA. Feels sort of range-like, but it's making higher highs and higher lows. So the downtrend now has a break and new low on the ES, or not quite on the ES, but it does on the NQ. So if we draw this a little bit wider, it's probably like this, the break and new low now. This uptrend is probably just tighter, like that. Same with this one, probably just tighter. Break a new high. RTY has a break a new low as well, out of that range. Could also be looking for a measured leg here as well. So that's my best bet on all these, NQ, ES, and RTY. Moving sideways on the ES. Didn't get the entry I was looking for there. Just looking for any possible setups that I might have missed. Triple test. That could definitely be a possibility. I think that's it on the NQ. CL. Nothing. RTY. I was gonna say you could maybe say triple test, but I don't really like that. Wouldn't want that failure, it's too congestive. I think it's just a lower high here, and even that one, the signal bar is not great. I think the best entry of the day was probably this one that I passed up earlier. There's still hour and a half left, a little bit over hour and a half, so there'll probably be something else. If not, no worries. I don't mind not taking a trade. Okay, so it does look like this downtrend probably had a break in 2 legs to a new low. This downtrend is not looking like it's going to play out. We are moving higher again. So let's see if we're able to successfully create some sort of reversal now. It's the same with the NQ as well, except for on the NQ we do have the 2 legs down being completed. So break of this downtrend, 2 legs, hits the measured move. This downtrend has a break in new low. Now we're getting some upward momentum, so expecting a possible reversal or prices to go sideways. Same story on the RTY, so those 3 are basically hand in hand as of right now. I'm going to put this, I don't think that this range is really going to come into play, but I'm just going to drag it out there just in case it does. Same with the ES, same with the NQ, just in case. CL, right now, kind of just moving sideways. There's the possibility for a range possibility because there's that triple test up there, so definitely that is there. Support isn't super clear. You're making higher lows here and also making higher highs. So it's looking to me kind of like the one yesterday where we kind of moved sideways for a bit before kind of rocketing up and looking for that measured move. So I'm looking to see if that's going to happen again on this chart. Also want to remind myself later on whenever I'm studying that I really want to do some more bar by bar, because I've just kind of been watching the video and seeing, okay, you know, where did I do right, where did I do wrong, but the thing is I haven't kind of gone through the chart enough beforehand to really make that determination. So I need to go through each one bar by bar to really get an idea of what's going on. Okay, so this range pretty much immediately got dismantled. There is that resistance there. Downtrend has a break and new low, so it looks like we're getting close to this. Oh, so we've hit the break and new low for this downtrend after the 2 legs up. So everything's played out to the downside. In fact, everything's kind of played out overall on the CL. I do want to look at some possible downtrend like that, just being a possibility with a really big question mark there. Continuing to find this upward momentum on ES and NQ. Just going to go ahead and move this range back over here because I don't think it's going to come into play. Same with on the NQ. Let's draw these wider trends with the channel line as well. I'm hesitant to take a long on ES and NQ because we are still making lower highs and lower lows. And there's definitely the possibility of a spike in channel, though that's, again, super unconfirmed. Big question mark on that one. Same deal on the NQ though. So big question mark on those trends there. Chances of them being right, I would say, are low, but they could be. Definitely have that break a new low on the CL. Still the potential for a range, but right now I'm not really looking at. He did get 2 legs back on RTY, so break new high on the RTY, but everything's played out to the downside. Super congestive above the EMA. It's not one that I want to take. If anything, I'd be looking for a long here. Looks like I was wrong about this ES range. It's coming back into play there. in Q, this range came back into play as well. Something like that. Clearly just back within this range now. This downtrend is actually looking correct on CL. Big question mark on that one, but seems to be playing about right. And I'm going to go ahead and take this measured move off that I was talking about earlier, the one to the upside. not too much going on the ES, NQ, or RTY. Again, those have been pretty much in line. Each one of them has pretty much traded the same today. And I'm noticing that I am definitely tired, but I'm not actually that tired. I think I'm just kind of bored. And I think that's making me feel tired. Crazy how you can be bored watching 4 charts. And I usually watch 1, and it's funny. Not really looking for anything on the ES. I do want to point out that this uptrend is struggling to play out. So there's clearly still some selling in the market. Whether it's because of this major downtrend, the spiking channel, or not, I don't know, because that might be incorrect. Same with the NQ. This uptrend is struggling to play out. So whether that's because of this downtrend that might or might not be correct, I don't know. CL is kind of, I mean, I had to drag the channel line out a little bit to make this fit, but so far this downtrend is looking like it might be accurate. RTY is not really seeing much of anything. Downtrends have played out with the break in 2 legs to a new low. So downtrend break, 1 leg, kind of some sideways action, 2nd leg, doesn't quite reach the measured move, and then you kind of just go into this congestive area. Now that we're breaking out of it, I'm expecting a retest. The NQ and the ES are following suit on this move up here. Downtrend is continuing to move down on CL. So this is quite the down move. I'm just going to remove that because I do think it's a little bit steeper. It's probably like this. I want to find where the midline might fit. So I think you could get a fit there. So let's see what happens. I want to check out Mac's midday chart real quick. It's probably posted by now. Mac of price action trading. Let's check that out and see what he's got going on. Looks like he doesn't have it posted yet, so we'll just hold off on that. So it looks like we are moving up to test the break and new high of this uptrend from earlier. If we get a bearish bar off of this triple test type of area, that might be something that I'm interested in. Maybe a 2nd entry short, so like a 1 leg up, break, new high. That could be a good entry. You are getting a bearish bar and triple test on the NQ, but I don't want to take that one. It's not my trade. Possibility for a short on CL. So on the ES, looking for this break and move to a new high, possibly get a bearish bar there around this resistance area. If you get that, then that's something I might be interested in. Clearly there's still some bearish bias in the market because all this downtrend, like all these downtrends have played out and you're still struggling to go higher. So making me think there could be an opportunity to short. There's also an opportunity to short on CL. I think this downtrend needs to break a new low. And you're getting this one leg up right now. Not sure where you are within this larger downtrend. If it's correct, it could just be a larger range as well. So those are the two that I'm paying most attention to. On the NQ, I do want to mark this area because I mentioned that earlier as a possible triple test, but it was one that I wasn't personally interested in. I'm not very good at range trades, so I skipped the majority of them, and this one is a little bit outside of my comfort zone. Stretching my legs out. For so much movement, it's kind of a slow day. There's a lot of bars, but it's not like been the most voluminous. Hasn't been a lot of volume. That's what I'm gonna go with today. Okay, so we are getting that move up on the ES. Let's see if we get that setup that I was kind of looking for there. If we get a bearish bar kind of off this resistance after this uptrend is played out. Also 2 legs. It's not technically a second entry short because you have the first entry, second entry, but it looks like 2 legs up.
Order submitted.
Could be something that I might be interested in there. This downtrend could be correct, but I don't really want to put too much emphasis on that. So that's not like the reason that I'm interested in this one. It's more so the horizontal resistance there. Keep an eye on it. If we start moving down, then I'll probably be interested. Okay, we are moving down there, finding some momentum. If we keep that up, I'll probably take that. Sort of pause there at the end. It is a pretty big bearish bar, so
order
I'm
filled.
going to take that. So some things to note. It is a higher high, which isn't ideal, but it does look like these 2 legs up to a resistance area. Overall, there's been this bearish bias. This downtrend might be correct, so I feel like it's worth risking. So we'll see what happens. Paying attention to my heart rate, it definitely increased a little bit upon taking the trade. Yeah, I don't know, nothing too crazy. I can still see it on my second monitor here, but trying to just sort of analyze the rest of the charts and see what's going on. So on the NQ, there's another possible range trade with like another just bounce off that resistance level. Kind of lines up with the trade that I just took. Clearly prices are just playing back within this range. Something that I didn't notice on the NQ before is that prices came off the resistance and didn't touch the support, which is kind of a little bit of a bullish bias right there. Same thing happened on the NQ. So prices came off, they're close to this resistance level and didn't really trade down. So, you know, it could be a sign that maybe this is going to break out the high side soon. I mentioned that I might be looking for a short on CL. I'm going to pull this trend in here. This is quite a strong short-term uptrend correction. So chances of getting a short here are probably pretty low. This is like strong enough to negate most of this downward momentum to me. And we're moving up pretty strongly on the ES. Wouldn't surprise me if we get stopped out here. I'm thinking it is possible this is an overshoot on CL, but I'm not going to play it that way for now. Keep it here. Getting a pretty strong up move there. I'm actually going to widen this correction trend, and that might be correct. Looks like I'm not looking for this break and new low really anymore. I'm going to wait for prices to come back to this trend line and see what's going to happen there. RTY I haven't really spent a whole lot of time looking at today. For the most part, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. It's been a lot of choppy sideways action. We are getting a lot of down movement on the ES, so let's hope we're able to push down here, but we are struggling at the midline. The one that I'm sort of most interested in right now is the CL with this correction
Target
back.
filled.
Looks like we got out of the ES trade. And we're moving down, so in Q, I think you probably could have taken either one of these. If I was better at taking ranges, then maybe I would have. And I do like this one on the ES, so I think that this was probably a good trade. It's funny, whenever you're in it, you know, always second guess myself quite a bit there. I really want to try and understand what's going on the RTY, because I haven't been able to get a good understanding of that yet. I definitely think that this spike in channel, that really seems correct to me with the break and new low. I don't know about that range that I had drawn. It's definitely some sideways action, but I think it's better off just to look at it like this way. Uptrend that fails to play out, downtrend break new low. You kind of get these two legs up. Clearly that one's right there. That one's definitely right. And you just kind of get some more sideways action. Looks similar to this here. Break out of that, double top, bearish bar, continuing down. I don't really fully understand the RTY right now. Struggling to find exactly what's going on. Heading back to the ES, we're finding support off this level. This downtrend could still be correct, but it's not really pushing away quite like I would like it to. In Q, I'm sort of playing around with pulling this in so this comes off of it, but you're cutting through a lot of the bars if you do that. Cutting through this one really is it. Let's look at the CL. I think that keeping this rather tight here is probably right. So a little bit tighter, and this is the close outside. So I want to see if that's actually, so this will be a first entry. It'll be a second entry short if it does occur there. Could be a possibility. If it comes off this trend line, then there's a good chance that I'll take something there, especially if it's a second entry short coming off the trend line. I didn't notice this with the downtrend, but there's this little piece right here. If I line up that, I have a feeling that that's probably where it really is. Right off of there. Seems right. So possibility for a second entry short off the possible trend line, which is looking correct. It's got a few touches on the trend line and then a few touches on the channel line as well. So if we move up and we get a bearish bar there, chances are I'm going to take that. It is quite a strong move up though. So I'll be putting a decent amount of faith in this trend line being right. It does have a break in new high, but with all the strength, it is kind of picking a, not necessarily picking a top, but it kind of feels a little bit like that. So let's go ahead and zoom on in here just in case. We need to see a tick higher above this bar and then a bearish bar. Or it could be even, but with only 300 ticks left, it's probably, well, I say that, but each one of these bars is only 500 ticks, so could happen. So far, not seeing it. So it's a possibility. I'd really like to see the tick higher
Order
though,
submitted.
before the bearish bar, if there is one. Okay, so cleanly moving up and on through what I thought was the trend line there. It's still possible the trend line could be correct and a little bit wider. But with that move through, I'm going to extend this trend, this correction trend, out a little bit. And I'm going to start treating this like an overshoot. This is what's looking more correct with how prices are playing out to me. It's not to say that there won't still be a short setup. This uptrend actually looks the most correct. There still could be a short setup, but I'm going to look for some sort of lower high or failure, most likely. Not so willing to just take the second entry short there. Still the closest possible setup is this CL one. Any kind of, lower high or something. This is the signal bar that I was kind of looking for, but unless you sort of doctor this trend, you can't really get that to fit quite right. And actually that looks like it fits pretty well. Still not sure though. So that could be correct. We'll mark it to take a look at later. Other than that, there's not really too much going on. Kind of moving lower a little bit on the ES. Found some support off of this old range that came back into play as a slight failed breakout, but it's really struggling to go lower, which makes me think this downtrend might not be correct. But we'll have to see. Up at max midday chart is probably up by now, so I'm going to check that out. See what he's got going on. Nope. He still doesn't have it up, so can't check that out. Okay, looking for some sort of lower high on the CL. So if we got a lower high with a bearish bar coming right off this possible trend line, I would definitely be interested in that. That would be a really great setup to me. Depending on how this, it's a pretty strong push right there. So it's possible that this is just wider. It's just wider and we're moving towards a breaking new high. So I really thought it wasn't going to be wider like that. But if we kind of draw it off the body, I think we can get something to kind of fit like that. Either way, I think that I should probably hang up the looking for shorts there. It's still possible that maybe you get a double top there and maybe that's a good short, but that's a really strong push up. We didn't even come back to the EMA. We're not really pushing away strongly there. It doesn't seem right. I'm gonna go back to the way that I was initially looking at this, with this being an overshoot. Super strong rally. Close outside, attempted a new high. That's what I like the best there. RTY, I'm really having a hard time figuring out what's going on. And you're clearly just kind of moving lower, but I'm having trouble understanding exactly what's going on here. There's nothing I'm really interested in right now. Too choppy on the ES, choppy on the NQ. Kind of tough to tell the direction on both of those ones. RTY, I mean, as I've said, I'm super lost on exactly what's going on. And the CL, kind of thought I knew what was going on. And I think I do. I think this is a downtrend. I think it's an overshoot. I think that led to this rally here. So I think that's probably correct. Possibility for some sort of short now that we've reached this old triple test area, and it definitely looks like this uptrend has played out now. I could definitely see this being some sort of short as a possibility, but I'm really bad at picking these tops, so I'm not going to take anything like that. And I've noticed in the past days that I've had multiple times where I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure this is the top. You know, it looks like a break a new high. It seems like a place where we could reverse, and I'm usually wrong. Is what I found. I'm usually wrong. So chances are I'm wrong, and we're going to continue higher. But it seems to me like this could be a top. Again, I think this could be a possible top after the break in new high, finding some resistance off of this previous resistance level with the triple test. But again, I'm often wrong about that, so not going to take it obviously, but want to point that out so I can continue to learn from it. Yes, we are moving up again. So not a great sign for this downtrend being correct. The fact that we're not really finding any sort of downward momentum. Gonna check again for Max midday chart, see if he's got that up there. Looks like he does. So I'm going to see what he's got drawn here. I figured he probably wouldn't have that same downtrend. So let's see what he's got. He's got the same, same range drawn, the same downtrend drawn, this same downtrend. He just doesn't have this wider one that I have, which, like I keep saying, might not be correct. But we'll see. We are coming back up there, but after such a choppy movement, I'm not going to probably put a bunch of weight in that. So I'm not really looking for much there. Same with the NQ. CL, we are getting a little bit of down movement off this area, but not super strong. I would consider maybe a failure or a lower high of some kind, potentially. I do think I understand what's going on there, so maybe something like that could be good. More than anything, I think that's what's important, just understanding, like actually understanding what's going on and seeing the setup that I'm actually looking for. It seems to be what's most important. And looking at all four of these charts, the chances of something that I understand going on is a lot higher than on the ES, where sometimes there will be whole days where I don't fully understand it. Okay, so let's flip over to the incur. Incur, obviously, this downtrend is not correct. So it looks like there was a break outside of this range leading to a rally. And I would bet this range is finally over with. So I thought it was over with, but it came back into play. Now it's broken out again. It's probably over with again. Or it's probably over with again. It's probably like actually over with this time. That's what I meant to say. Now the ES, still the possibility that this downtrend holds, but it's looking to me like it's probably not going to. Chances are this is going to be incorrect. I go and remove it. So I think that's more accurate there. Let's flip over to the CL, creating the possibility for a lower high. We're already getting pretty close to the EMA though, so I think we'd have to move up more in order for me to be interested. Like if we turned down and got a nice bearish bar, it'd be going right into the EMA and I don't want to risk that. So chances are there's not going to be a setup there. I would still consider a failed second entry if we drop below the EMA pretty strongly and pull back. Chance of that happening are pretty low though. Got about 45 more minutes. Tempted to say there won't be any more setups. There's nothing that's like particularly close now, but 45 minutes is a long time, so something can definitely change. Let's take a look at the RTY. I think I removed that measured move from earlier, but it might have sort of come into play there. Price has basically made it a perfect measured move down. So downtrend break, first leg down, some sideways correction, second leg down, basically perfect. I like the look of that. And now getting a little bit of an uptrend there. Nothing too crazy though. Looks like this uptrend is actually probably a little wider, like that. Same with this one. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. So nothing really even close to setting up right now. Not that I can see, at least. Except for the CL, but first entry, that creates the second entry right there. So failure is out of the question. It's sort of chopping around, but if we get a move down and maybe a second entry, so like a strong move down through the EMA and then a second entry to go lower, I might like that. I worked out yesterday and I really tried to like push myself during the workout. And I'm actually pretty sore. It's funny how that works. I know a lot of times I'd work out and just be kind of going through the motions, and like you will put on a little bit of muscle mass, but I noticed that I was like never really getting sore, and I thought about it. I was like, well, I'm not really like pushing myself. I'm just like going through the same set of things that I like supposedly need to go through. But if I just get in there and just push myself super hard for that, 45 minutes or whatever it is, then it's probably more useful. Probably get more out of it. the potential for a long entry on the ES. Same with the NQ. I think this range is probably dismantled. Probably not really much to do about that range now. Potential for a short setup, like I said. I'd like to see a strong push below, and then like a second entry. And the RTY is continuing to be sort of ambiguous. It's sort of tough for me to understand what's going on. Okay, so the chances of getting the setup that I was thinking about on the CL are super low because we are turning up higher here. It's possible this major downtrend is just wrong completely, but it still does fit pretty well with the overshoot and reversal. As I mentioned about this possibly being a top after the break in 2 legs up off this resistance level, I was saying that I was probably wrong here. We did get a move back to the EMA, so there is that, but again, I'm just not very great at picking tops like that. It's a tough thing to do. We're breaking this uptrend on the ES. NQ is still kind of working up higher there. CL, nothing to really think about. RTY, nothing to really think about. So it's really just the ES. Thinking that there could be a long entry, maybe a second entry long. See what's going to happen. It's of course still possible that we do get a measured move up. It's not exactly what I would have pictured, though. We already came back like a really far ways, but it's definitely a possibility. Most likely for a setup would be the ES right now. ES or possibly the NQ. NQ looks like the uptrend could be a little bit wider. That would fit better down here. Fits pretty well off the highs as well. So maybe something like that on the NQ. Not entirely sure though. Yes, I feel confident about where this is. Sort of depends on whether this is going to come back within this range again, or are we going to get like maybe a nice second entry there. Moving up strongly on the CL chart. Very strong. Interesting. Pushing very strongly away from the EMA. RTY, there's been just nothing really worth considering. So it's really down to the ES and the NQ right now. And I want to keep an eye on the CL just in case something sort of happens there. I could see a potential for maybe a spiking channel. That looks a little odd though. Could just be a classic channel like that. Or it could be the spiking channel. Not really sure there. So far classic one fits better, so I'm going to leave that for now. Flipping back to the ES. If we get a second entry long here, I'll probably be interested, just depending on how it sets up. Also keeping an eye on the NQ. So it looks like there's a small short-term downtrend. It's really just 2 bars though, so it's not like kind of perfect there. Not finding a ton of support off this level though. Let's just see what happens. I don't want to over-analyze here. It's better to just kind of feel it out, I think. On the NQ, I think there has to be a break. First I was thinking maybe it was wider, but I think there has to be a break there. You don't get that kind of congestive action without there being a break. Lots of congestion there, so chances of getting that second entry are probably pretty low. Could happen, but it's looking less likely. So it did get a move up there, but it's getting sold off. Definitely not setting up how I'd like it to. Looks like we're going ahead and moving up to the breaking new high here. So we got this push up, pull back down, pushing back up. Looks like it's going to hit the breaking new high for the uptrend. Incur, looks like it already has hit the breaking new high. Wouldn't be surprised if we get kind of a more convincing one though. Also want to note the prices are struggling to come back to the EMA there. CL moving up and up. Nothing too crazy to see on the CL. This uptrend could be correct, but notice how we're failing to reach the channel line, which is the opposite side right here. So potential for a second entry long, but with this trend being so uncertain and failing to reach the channel line, I think I'm going to skip that if it does occur. So here we come down to the trend line, or possible trend line, and there's definitely the potential for an entry there. I just don't feel 100% about it. It's not like a sure thing to me. It's not like a hell yeah kind of setup, you know. Looking at the ES, looks like this uptrend got a break in new high. Now we're selling off. We might even come back within the range here. We'll see if this old resistance holds as support. It does have a 1, 2. Now it's working on a third test there. So for how much movement was in the overnight, basically since the open, it's just been really sideways. Same with this one. Lots of movement in the overnight. It's been basically sideways for most of the day. I think there could be an argument to be made to take a short on ES. Some sort of lower high or failed second entry. Same with NQ. If we come back below the EMA, I think there could be an argument to be made to take a short. CL, not really much to say. I mentioned this possible second entry long, but I'm definitely not interested. We're not pushing away from the trend line there. RTY, I mean, it really makes me think there's some sort of like larger trend here. I just can't quite figure out where it would be. I don't know, maybe something like that. I don't know, it's hard to tell. Can't really tell. Not really sure. Maybe if I work off the midline, if I try and find something that fits well on the midline, maybe I can find the top. I don't know, it's not terrible. It's not my favorite, but it's not terrible. So that trend line's not right. Figured it probably wasn't, but I had it drawn there just in case. I think there is a close outside, so it looks like all the uptrends have played out now. But we're getting some really wide swings up and down on this. So I'm not entirely sure where we're headed from here. Still the possibility for a spike in channel, but that doesn't really look right either. Like you could get something, you know, working up through here, but I don't really think that that looks right. It could. I'll leave it there for now, but I don't think it's going to end up being right. The ES, I mentioned that there could be merit to this lower high after the uptrend played out. Strong push below the EMA. Maybe a lower high coming back within, but this range has been sort of played out by now, so I don't want to put a bunch of weight in that. I'm not really great at playing ranges anyway, so I'm not really going to do anything there. Same with the NQ. So now I guess the closest thing to a setup for me would be the RTY, really. I mean, so far it's been this pretty steady stream of down movement, even if it has been choppy. It's been pretty choppy, you know, but there could be a second entry short here. There could be a nice pullback. Just have to keep a lookout for it. So far I haven't seen it. It'd have to be pretty perfect because it's a somewhat uncertain area still. shoot, CL. This trend might be right after all. I mean, it's turning up this strong short-term downtrend, so maybe it is correct. The spike in channel, I mean. Don't know. Have to keep an eye on it. Got about 15 more minutes. For the most part, today's gone by pretty quickly, I have to say. Hasn't been the most fast price action or anything like that, but I've definitely, time has gone by pretty quickly. So we are getting some down movement after this lower high on the ES. There wasn't a good signal bar, so nothing to really consider to take there. But I want to see if there's continued downward action. We've definitely at least gotten this 2 legs. So like if you, it's really just 2 bars. So, but like 1, 2, and after this trend plays out, you're expecting at least a 2-legged correction. And we'll have to see if there's anything more, but we did get that at least. Same with this incur, you kind of get this 1, 2 down. Let's see if there's any kind of continuation there. CL, I want to see if this trend actually ends up holding. I don't think I'm ready to play that as a trend. There's a possibility that you get a higher low here. So maybe I'm going to take a look at it just in case. Because you might get, like if you were to pull down here and get a really nice bullish bar with like a good amount of momentum, then maybe I'd be willing to take that even though this trend isn't 100% confirmed.
Order
Let's put this in just in
submitted.
case. It would have to set up really, really well in order for me to take this. It's a higher low second entry off a trend line that I'm not sure about. So it'd have to set up really perfectly. Chances are this one's not going to set up here. Getting the continued down movement on the ES and NQ. Same with the RTY. Yeah, nothing to
Order
do
canceled.
there. I want to make sure that I didn't remove that too early though, because I've done that before, where I've removed it too early and the bar just went ballistic, you know. So let's see. Probably not. Yeah, gonna go ahead and ditch this spiking channel. Definitely getting that continued sell-off. Maybe just playing back within this range again. Chances of getting a setup in the next 9 minutes are quite low. The closest would probably be probably the NQ or the CL, or not the CL, but the gosh, what's it called? RTY. I kind of got caught up looking at the CL because it's continuing to move higher. So downtrend break, new low. So maybe there is. I keep like drawing and redrawing the same trend. Could be like that. Maybe. But clearly that'd be a first entry, second entry. I'm not really sure about this trend enough to take that, but I think that's definitely a possibility. It's a strong bar. The short-term downtrend now has a break and new low. Looks like you basically come back to test this old resistance area. So there's a decent amount of merit to that trade. I'm just not sure about this trend line, so I'm gonna skip that. I think there could be something there though. On the NQ, we could see some sort of two-legged pullback. Same with the RTY. Definitely getting tired now. Noticing that my eyes are closing a little bit on me. Just got about 5 minutes left. Not really seeing anything that I think I'd be able to take. The ES, NQ, and RTY are all moving down, and the CL is sort of sideways / maybe up. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Okay, so there is actually a possible setup on RTY. This would make it a second entry short. I don't love taking second entries whenever it's like a double bottom sort of setup, but there could be something here.
Order
So I'm gonna prep
submitted.
an order just in case. Clearly that is a first entry, and we are looking at a possible second entry. So far it's not setting up really how I'd like it to. Also need to take a look at the sort of larger picture, and I don't really understand it, to be honest. So that's one negative, that there's a possibility that I'm just reading this completely wrong, and it could be a really bad place to go short. On the shorter term, you're looking for the break and new low of this minor downtrend, and it's a kind of a two-legged pullback, but it's not a perfect one. I definitely am not going to take it after that bar, that's for sure.
Order canceled.
We are getting that down movement after the bar, so I still don't think that I should have taken that, but it is a second entry, looking for a break and new low and a down bias with a decent signal bar, so there's something going for it for sure. It's moving down quite strongly there, so maybe I put too much emphasis in finding some momentum on that bar. That's really what I was looking for, was the momentum there. But there were a couple things that I wasn't too sure about, so I'm going to mark that to take a look at later. It's the first one I have marked on the RTY chart. I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. So I will see you guys tomorrow.